Hi you guys, this is Marianne from Songbird. I'm here today to make a floral arrangement for my garden table. It's January now, the Christmas stuff has been put away, everything is empty and cleared out, and that's nice, but also a little bit bare and boring, and I don't like that. Speaking about boring, it's January in the Netherlands, and that usually means that the month is grey, rainy, wet, dull, cold, not a cheerful month. Not my most popular month, not my favorite month in my book. So I really needed a little pick-me-up, and I thought, why not make something for my garden table? My garden table stands right outside my kitchen window, and I always see it when I'm standing at the sink looking outside. And right now my table is empty, and that's dull and that's boring. And I thought, if I make a nice luscious piece to go on it, that I can see every time I look outside, I can ignore the rain and the grey and just look at something beautiful. So that's what I am doing today. I hope you'll have fun working along. And speaking about hope, it's January, maybe you made some New Year's resolutions, and if you did, I really hope that one of those resolutions was that in 2021 you're going to let your creative self roam free. It definitely was one of my resolutions, and I guess I'm off to a great start. I am using this big heavy metal urn that I've had for years now. If you don't have an urn like this, don't fret. You can make a garden arrangement in just about any container. You could use a basket, a planting pot, a big vase, anything actually. Just make sure that you put some counterweight at the bottom, because as it's standing outside, it might catch some wind from time to time, and you don't want it to topple over and break. So this garden urn is very heavy, no risk of it falling over, even in the most heaviest of winds or storms that we also can have in January. I've pre-prepared it already. I'm using one of those blocks of foam. I've just filled up the urn with some plastic so that the foam block won't fall to the bottom. And as you can see, I've taken a knife and I've cut off the edges and the corners just to make it a little bit more of a round shape. I'm using an assortment of evergreens and some faux flowers from the dollar store. I'm going with a little bit of a gray and white theme because, let's face it, those are my favorite colors. There are flowers, there are some leafy greens, there are some leftover Christmas greens. I have some pine cones, some faux roses, all kinds of stuff that just appealed to me. I gathered it from all over. I took it away from one or two Christmas wreaths that now have been put into pasture until next year. And I'm just winging it. I'm just gonna see how it turns out. I have this vague idea in my head, but I'm just gonna go with it and see how it works out. I always follow a couple of rules when I'm making a floral arrangement. I'll explain those rules to you as we go along. I'm hoping you have fun. I hope that you will gather up all the greens and flowers that you have lying around. Don't fret if you don't have the same ones. Anything basically works. And well, let's make a garden arrangement for the garden table. Well, let's start. Whenever I start with an arrangement like this, I like to make my sort of random outline first. And I'm gonna see what I'm gonna use for that. I think I'm gonna use these leaves. It's usually a good idea to work somewhat symmetrical. If I put one of those longer branches on one side, I'm gonna put it on the other side as well, and I'll probably will put it on all the 4 sides. Although in hindsight, I'm not gonna do that. My garden table is lengthwise, and I'm gonna keep my piece lengthwise as well. I think I like that idea better. Which means that I'm just gonna fill it out a little bit, this line, so that it's a little bit stronger. Now you can also see why my foam is higher than my pot, because now I can have branches and leaves hanging a bit down instead of just having everything have to go up. I'm considering whether to use these big flowers as is, which would fill it up quite nicely all at once, or if I'm gonna cut each individual flower loose. I'm not entirely sure yet. So let's see how it turns out. I think I wanna emphasize the length with flowers as well, and I'm gonna see if my roses will work for that. Note to self, always have shears ready. Forgot them. Now I'm going to decide what I'm going to do for height. I have the basic outline now. I'll soften those edges a little bit later on. I've got like 3 roses here. When you do floral arrangements, it's always a good idea to work with uneven numbers, so 3s, 5s, 7s instead of even numbers, because somehow, I don't know why that is, that just works better. Let's see, I might use a rose as a center. As I said, I could just use one of those big flowers. Yes, I'm going to do that. I'm going to use this as a center, and I'm not going to make it very high. I'm going to use the width of the piece, and I'm going to leave it fairly low. I'm not going to make it a large centered piece. I don't know why, I just feel like it. Well, this one is incredibly long, so I'm gonna... It took some effort, but I cut off that endless long stem of this flower. So I'm now gonna put this one in, and that one will determine how high my piece is gonna be. And I already think this is way too high and I need to cut it even lower. So I'm gonna do that. And that takes some time because this is very, very thick and very hard to work with. But you have to try these things out. You never get it right in the first one. At least that's my experience. Oh, okay. So this one. Okay. Let's see. Huh. That's easy. That's better. Gonna go for about this height. As you can tell, I'm already putting in flowers after I've just put in a few greens. The reason for that is that I want to sort of build the structure of the piece, the lines that I'm going to follow and that I'm going to stay inside of. because that makes it easier to sort of see how it's going to turn out. And then I can fill in all the empty space later with all kinds of more loose greens. But I want to have the basic structure. What height am I going to go with? What is my width? Where is the heavy point of the piece? Where is the weight of the piece going to be? Not the literal weight, but the weight of the bigger elements. And that is what I want to set out first. And then I can fill it in with all the other stuff later. And I had 3 there, so I'm going to go with 3 here. Okay, now I'm going to start filling it in a bit so that I can see how it all comes together. I'm just going to start with these because they kind of, well, they have a bit of weight to them. They fill up things. I'm going to just first go around and put them in all around. And most of them have a bit of a curve. I'm going to make sure that it always hangs down a little bit. You can't see that from the back, but I will turn this piece around soon and then you will see what I mean. See how many? Oh, I've got plenty. Always a good idea to turn it around from time to time. That's too long. Yep, that's already filling up nicely. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna fill it in a bit more with some other greens, and I'm gonna use these gray leaves. Most of what I've done now is either horizontal or a little bit down. And now I'm going to start working with everything a little bit at an angled up because I need to fill in this piece. But I'm still going to be mostly at the outside edges of my piece. And again, I'm going to just use the same leaf and go round and round until I've basically have a piece in everywhere. I'm probably going to use about 5 of them, so not exactly on each corner, but a little bit uneven spread, so that I'll use 5 or 7. Always save little pieces like this, because they will come in handy when you have to fill up all the bare spots later. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. I'm gonna turn this again. Nice. Now I want to have something a little more playful, so that it's not too rigid, too stiff. And I'm thinking maybe have something hanging down. Not the big ones, the somewhat smaller ones. Okay, I have 2 larger pieces, 3 larger pieces, okay. And I'm gonna just let this hang down. The nice thing about these faux greens is that you can always just curve them a little if they're too straight, which this one is. So I'm just bending it a little bit. And then I'm gonna just sort of make sure that these are echoed somewhere else. I'm gonna echo it on this side. And I'm gonna echo it on this side. And I'm gonna use the smallest, one of the smallest ones to bring it up a bit. Let's see. Yeah. I'm seeing if I want to use this faux moss. I think this will be perfect later to fill up all the spots that I don't know what to do with. I want to echo the flower as well, because as I said, one of the rules of floral arrangements is working with uneven numbers. The other one that I already mentioned was setting out your shape. And I think one more that I always use is what I already said before, is making sure that something is echoed elsewhere. So if you put in a big branch somewhere or a big flower that is kind of taking a lot of attention, it needs to come back somewhere else. So not just have this one big flower be the center, but make sure that at least that flower is echoed somewhere else. And I'm gonna be using my second one for it, but now I'm gonna just cut off these top flower bits and stick them in real close into the foam. That will also make it easier, I hope, to dismantle it, because this one really is a tough piece to work with. So that's a start. Look at that. 2, 3, so I might not use number 4. Let's see. Yeah, this could work nicely. The nice thing about working with these big kinds of flowers is that they cover up a lot of foam in one go. And I'll need something to separate those two, but that's something that I can do later. And then I'm gonna put this one here. Okay. As you can see on this side, I now here have like 3 flowers very close to each other, and they are kind of touching each other almost, and I will need to separate them. So I'm going to put some green in between so that they are not one big flower, but that you can see again that those are 3 separate flowers. And also put a little bit of separation between the white rose and this, I can't come up with the name of this white flower, this big one. Let's see, I need something quite big for it here. I hope you can see that I put some greens in between to separate them. I might actually put some more here, maybe some more here. We'll see how it works out. For now, I'm happy with how it's evolving. And I now have a big gap here. And I'm going to think about how I'm going to fill that one. And I think I'm going to start by using a pine cone. I have 3. So I'll put 2 together as a duo, and then, because then I'll get this big gaping hole filled in quite nicely, and then I'll put 1 on the other side to echo it. And it can also separate the roses a little bit. Yes. Now something needs to come out of here, because it's getting too flat. And I'm seeing too much stem. Let's see, what do I still have? Yes. Some of my greens. Yeah, no, this one doesn't work. Never be afraid to take something out and put it back in elsewhere if you feel that it doesn't work. Just follow your intuition. If it doesn't look good right away, then just change it. Yeah, that's nice. I think I need a little bit more of that Christmas greenery to give it, because I'm not... Look at this. I'm quite happy about this side. I'm not so happy yet about this side. So I'm gonna just do it over, or see how I can salvage it. Okay, this is the side. It's those 2 pine cones. I don't like those. Yeah, I think that's better. See how it's turned out now? I'm thinking this side is a little bit too full. That's okay. It's always okay to take something out and just make it a little bit more quiet. Instead of that big flower, just put in the pine cone. I think I'm nearly done. I'm just looking at all the little pieces where I can still see foam and putting in little bits of green to cover that. Giving it some air if I think somewhere is too full. But no, I guess I'm quite liking it like this. It's definitely not the same on every side, but it has a theme and I'm liking it. I'm gonna put it in its place and then I'll probably tweak it a little bit because now I have a very loud environment around it with everything that I have lying here. And when I will put it on the table, I will have a quiet environment. It will be an empty space around it, and that's when you really can see if everything is working, if the width is wide enough or it needs to be a little less wide, if it's high enough, if it looks okay, if I walk around the table and if I see any place that looks odd when I'm looking at it from a distance. So that's what I'm going to do next, and then I'm going to show you how it looks all styled out on my garden table. Well, for now, this is it for me. You will see the finished piece on my garden table at the end of the video. Thank you for watching, thank you for following along. I hope I sparked a little bit of creativity in you as well, and that you will make a floral arrangement for your garden table. If you do, Send me a quick note, let me know, send me a picture through the comments or through the comments on my blog, songbird.blog.com, or on Instagram, where you can find me as msongbird. You can find me, reach out, let me know what you thought of this video. Let me know if you made a garden piece for your own table. What are your January resolutions, and did creativity play a role in those? Let me know, I love to hear from you. Thank you for watching, and stick around to see this piece styled out on my garden table. Thank you, bye.